Good evening, retro fans. Hello, Micro Man. It does sound like an elevator, doesn't it? This is the elevators from the future. This is how the rich live. I mean, what elevator doesn't need this demo played on a screen? We're into tricky turf here in the coding. So, you know, I'm mildly concerned that I will hit some stumbling blocks. But I've got a rough idea of what I wanted to try and do this session. I love that demo, I've just found it. I'm going to start doing some specky demos in the background. One day I'll learn to make my own ones of these. Not like it won't be anything like this, I can trust you that. One day in the future. Look at that. Is that true 3D? I think it might be. I believe it is. Animation. Okay. Like pre-baked. Pre-baked on a PC. Look at that. That looks cool though, doesn't it? I think that's on the 128K as well, that. Love it though. Right, we can get started. Oh, look at that, I forgot to even open my code editor. Oh, you have the source for one. Generated in a PC first. It did look that way actually, yeah, like pre-baked, as they call it on Unity. Awesome though. I actually played a pool game. Smoke and mirrors. Yeah, it looks good though. I like them colours as well. They looked really cool. Yeah, still totally awesome. Especially if it was truly made back in the day. They're the real awesome ones. The ones that were made on a tape you'd get from your friend copied on the front of a game. They were my favourites. Particularly in the Amiga in my lifetime. Because that was the one I used to get heavily pirated games. You might have seen a tweet earlier from me. You may have or may not, but I changed it into a Red Dwarf game this. Just by a couple of very simple changes. I in fact did this before I went to sleep. Well, I've done some of the graphics today. They're very bad graphics because I had the idea of making anchored sprites for the character, and I made quite a nice looking sprite, but then I realised all my other graphics here, for example, the stasis booth, you can walk in, it's a trigger rather than collision, and that would have had to be made bigger. Oh, of course, but them old ones were cool. Yeah, hello everyone, by the way. Oh, I didn't even notice Specky. Oh, Emook, yeah. Still, some nice progress. I'll get my tile sheet up because I'm happy with it as a working art asset, but it's not adequate for the full game, but it's good enough for us to practice and play around. I'm going to load that up. If I can find where I put it. Okay, it's just loading GIMP. So I've done 2 bits of graphics. Well, they're the same, but I'll show you what I mean. Where is it? There we go. So here's how I started creating it. And I decided these are the floor colors. You know, my idea behind this was the first level would be nice and grey like the original. You know, there'd be a lot of grey around because that's what the first series of Red Dwarf, the first couple were like. Hey ho, Specky Nut. Good to see ya. Yeah, so I drew these. These are all solid objects at the top, and this is a control unit. You can use the the bottom of the desk there to fill that out. These are the non-solids, and then here I laid them out in order. So all the way up to here is solid. These are triggers, and the rest are neither triggers or solid collision box. You liking the sprites? Yeah, it's a bit Red Dwarfy, isn't it? Seeing as I've only done that, I didn't have a lot of time. But it's good enough for a placeholder graphic, isn't it? Now, if I was really clever when I made this graphics, I've already found a problem. If you look at here, the console, like the computer system, I want the player to be able to walk up to it, and I've stupidly made the whole thing solid. Really, I should have made just these two solid. That way you could walk up to the screen. Yo, Vulcan, good to see you. Been meaning to thank you. I've got all this gear you sent me. Amazing generosity, my man. I will definitely recompensate you for it because it's too much for free. I can't accept it. Feel like it's not fair to get that for free. It has moved on a lot. Yeah, it has. What I've done this for is, like I said, just quickly because you probably weren't watching yesterday. I'd like to be able to draw my graphics in this scenario. Obviously, it makes sense to be able to draw as it's going to look, but then I have to manually adjust it to this. The reason for that is I was able to now simplify my code drastically. Not that. I believe tiled world. Oh no, of course, player collision. Yeah. Give me a sec. These are quite badly named because I've actually made it more generic. It just checks for all collisions here now. Also, I could probably get rid of the up down, although this is actually like a more optimized way. It doesn't check when you're heading right, for example. It only checks the right blocks for collision. It doesn't check your left side. And if you had a sprite that was, say, 9 character cells in size in total, like 3x3, that would save you even more. And obviously, the higher you go, the same would apply. So imagine these are not called solid anymore because they just check for collision. And as you can see, 3A, where did I put this? I noted it here that, so there's the crucial bit. So hex 33 is the last solid up tile. Then hex 39 is the last trigger. Everything after that is floor or non-trigger. He probably is thinking that, but this is a working way, and I know it's not the best way, but I've already made a drastic improvement overnight, which I did suggest at the end of the last video that I was going to do. Why does it keep closing? There we go. Yeah, before we hard coded every single map tile and said whether it was solid or trigger, and then at the end, it meant it was floor or what. I can't remember exactly how we did it, but this way is really, really good because as long as you know the figure where the solid ones stop, that's all you need to know. In fact, that's not where the solid one stops. That's where any collision box stops, i.e. the solid and the triggers. Then it goes into here, checks whether it's a solid or a trigger. If it's more than that, then we know it's a trigger. And as we'll see, it does work pretty much perfectly. I mean, It's clunky. The scrolling's not brilliant, and the collision detection itself is reading the map. You know, it's not the very best way of doing it, I don't think. It's also not like pre-resolving the collision. It's letting it happen and then resetting the position back, but you don't notice that. I mean, look, as you can see, that's pixel perfect. It's absolutely perfect, to be honest. It works great. I hate the scrolling, you know, I'd love to be able to make that smooth. That's another thing for another day. I did notice as well, somewhere in my code, I've got a little bit of a problem. I changed the width of the world to 60. You like that it's scrolling now, that's good. Not only is it scrolling, that bit was quite easy compared to checking the collision whilst scrolling. That's what proved tricky. But actually it wasn't that tricky. It turned out to be something stupid that I was doing, where I was jumping, like when it was scrolling, I was jumping to it, so I didn't check the collision anymore. But I spent ages fiddling around with other solutions before finding that. Yeah, so I made it 60 wide and it didn't work. So I made this collision, world width constant here, and I thought I could just change it to 60 and everything would be fine. But somewhere in the code, it must be relying on it being 80, and I haven't like took any note of that. Just trying to think about that now. Yo coder, touch typing. I'm trying to just ignore all this COVID crap, to be honest. I suppose I should try and find that bug where it has to be 80 width. It was to do with the drawing of the tile map. Oh. It was to do with the drawing of the objects, because that was where it was failing. Oh, it's just done that close down thing again. It's useless. Yeah, I agree with that, Specky. I've only just remembered about that world width thing. I might just forget about it for now and live with it, but I've got to remember. Oh, it's crashed again. Weird. It shouldn't do that automatically. That's stupid. I mean, I didn't lose any work. But were you? That sounds cool. I hope he grows up to have a keen interest. That would be cool. I just stated at the start of the video what I was actually going to do today, but I've forgotten it. Oh yeah, the main thing I wanted to try. I want to add an NPC in the world. If I'd walk down here, there's another stasis booth. I want a guy stood here just to demonstrate that we can do it. Of course, he's not a tile. Oh, I'll tell you what, I've downloaded a sprite editor on my phone, and it's absolutely amazing. I doubt it exports anything, or you can probably only export to one file type. Beer milkshake. Yeah, we need the replicators in there. I was thinking you need the vending machines. The one that gives you back chat. Maybe they could be like the wise men in the game. You go and get advice from. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to do, if I manage to draw the NPC real quickly, is I'd like to. Oh god, my brain's really not working. Oh yeah, I'd like to add a fight scene because that'd be, I think, the most fun bit of the project. Holy face. Outsource the sprite editing to the kids. Delegate it. Dwayne Dibley, yeah. I was thinking about him the other day because I mentioned that episode, didn't I? That's my favourite episode where he actually turns into Dwayne. The only bad thing I can say about that episode is it runs out too quick. It's like amazing, and then it just suddenly they end it. So NPC, I've already got code here to draw it, but it's doing it like the player, which is in screen space. I think we're going to need to have a screen X like this, and then a world X. Although maybe we just need the world X. No, we don't. We need both, and we need to calculate it backwards to what we've done with the player, as far as I can tell. It could probably be a byte because world X is in cells. It's only 80 wide. The world. Let's try it. Like I said, both these topics that I'm trying to add today are both out of my reach. There's something new to me, so don't be surprised if I fail. Despair squid, yeah. Disperse. He disperses of despair oil. Gonna take a drink. One sec. Back to reality. That's it. Yeah, I love that episode. I've watched the whole series so many times, but it has been about a year since I last watched it, so I'm gonna watch it again soon. Crichton, maybe we could have all of them. Like they have that alternate self, don't they, that appears, and they're all evil. Do you remember that? That's another good episode. They do a replicator, don't they, and it splits it into evil and good. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Also, even the modern ones are good. Like, well, not the modern ones, but the more modern ones, like the ones with Crikey TV, and he sets up the shower cam and all that. It's all brilliant. I love it all. It's like one of the best TV series ever. Yeah, I did. The Triplicator. That's it, Micro. Yeah, they're all good episodes, but some of them are better than others, obviously. Canaries, yeah, the newer ones. They're also great though. Most shows get worse as they go on, in my opinion. Most of them. But I really hope there's another Red Dwarf come out. Whole series. Right, so I want this guy to be stood somewhere near this tile, this here, which is the stasis booth down the bottom, I think. Well, it must be. So these are chunks of 32 lines. So 64, 3, 2, 1. It's roughly 59. So roughly 59.10. There's definitely one planned, but they say that all the time, don't they? Sadly, I think I read between lines of everything, but I think the writers of that and the owners, of the intellectual property, I think they're quite like demanding on money because the show often doesn't go ahead, and it's a shame because I could have, I could watch it. I would have loved 30 episodes a year, every year, but I'm sure half the bloody world would as well. It wouldn't. It would lose its appeal, but they'd have to. Don't know really. It might. It might not. Star Trek managed it, didn't it? Android. Yeah, the last series was 2017. That seems like just yesterday, doesn't it? Yeah, I love it. It's been going since the 80s, unbelievably. It's crazy. All in the same cast. I can actually still remember watching series one when I was a real young lad. I loved it even then. Yeah, so we've got lot of work to do with this NPC, but at least he has a world position now. So the annoying thing is the screen position. I mean, it might as well just be like, well, 0 or anything. But the thing is, it's going to read that top one. Oh no, it does use the entire. It uses the entire thing, yeah. So that would just put it over the far right of the screen, and it would ignore most of that. Yeah, I read a thing saying from Crichton not long ago saying he's getting too old to play Crichton. I reckon the show could go on without him though. They could just get a new Crichton in or something. To be honest, when I say a new Crichton, obviously not. It would have to be someone different. Comment, alright, stand still here. We need to know if the camera makes this visible, and if it does, then we calculate this and draw. I listened to their audiobooks because I work in my car a lot. I absolutely love the audiobooks with Rimmer reading them. They're great. It's almost as good as watching a movie or something because they sound exactly like the real characters. It's mainly recycled from the original series stories. I I feel like deleting all this because I know it doesn't really work. Alright, so the way I was doing it, you basically add a value for what sprite you want here. So I remember I could set this and then just call start and it would do it all for me basically. That's all good. Let's leave it like that for now. Animation. Yeah, that's going to be alright. Collide player. Do you know what? All this stuff is probably alright. The difference is we need to add some extra routines. Trying to do just add an NPC, but the player is overlaid on the screen space, yeah, because we're moving him around on the screen. So he does have a world position, so that we can test against static objects like this. But to make him stand the right way, there we go. If I wanted an NPC to stand down here, it's quite a calculation really to figure out whether to draw him. And obviously every time I move the camera, we've got to readjust where the NPC is standing in terms of the screen. I actually do think all this will work, but it has to only happen when he is visible. So I guess I'm just going to have. I don't like using his visible because it kind of causes a confusion with this visibility bit for me, because it's nothing to do with that. I can't really make him a tile because I don't want him to be static all the time. I want him to be able to move and disappear, stuff like that. It's only to prove that I can do it. This could. It's an NPC, yeah, but it could easily be an object like a spanner or something. You know, it could be anything. It's just to show, basically drawing a sprite in the world rather than on the screen. If that makes sense. I hope it does. It does to me. I'm yet again getting stuck on the bloody names. Is showing. So now I can just exit out if it's not showing. Okay. If I remember right, it's about a week ago now and I can't remember properly, but it wasn't good enough to just not call this draw routine. Like what I'm showing here, this is what I would hope would work. But if I recall, once you start showing him and he's drawn, it doesn't matter if you don't call this again, you still have to set the visibility bit to 0. So in reality I'll probably not do that on the draw, but instead we'll set bit 7 of this, I think it is, to 0. Attribute 3. But that'll be simples. That'll be easy. Yeah, Lister is basically god of the cat people. But it turns out he's god of all. He's like, doesn't he end up being god of all the universe as well? If I remember right, one of them episodes. And he's also like infinite. It's a quality show, quality TV show. We don't need any of that because I can remember you do have to do that visibility thing. So we actually want to set the visibility to not true at the start. It's not very efficient, but one way of dealing with it would be load a attribute 3, add a visibility, attribute 3, store it back. No, that's wrong. I'd want to set it to 0. So right, so do you know I keep wanting to watch Monty Python? That's one I haven't seen. I remember watching it very, very long time ago. Yeah, it was actually. As far as I know, and I am not an expert on the bitwise still, I get it wrong quite a lot, but as far as I know, this will make sure that's a 0, won't it? And then if showing is true, I'm going to do the exact opposite. I think I need to do all 4 like that. And the point behind doing that was just so that I can set this and have it set the visibility bit without me having to do it every time. So if I just set NPC showing to false, this will be 0. It won't get drawn. So in other words, I can call draw every frame and it won't like glitch out. That's the idea anyway. So I'll try it right now. So I've set it to false. So I don't expect to see this guy. We'll set this to, let's just set it to 128. So if it wasn't working, we probably would see him. In fact, that's right where we start. So the second he comes into frame, we're going to set this to the correct values. I'm a lumberjack. Well, they're terrible. Yeah, but Vulcan, I actually love the old British comedy, honestly. I love Blackadder and all the old stuff. Nothing quite as much as as good old Red Dwarf. You know, that's league above. The Ministry of Silly War. No, no, I love Blackadder. I'm not sure which series of Blackadder I like the best, to be honest. I watch all four of them when I'm going round doing my deliveries. I love them all because I love even the new ones, the newer ones, where they've got the one he keeps calling him darling. You know, he's like, yeah, it's not darling. Melch it. I like them all though. Right, as a little test, I'm gonna just spawn this NPC. I think all I have to do, not enabled, is change that. John Cleese. Yeah, what? You can't get rid of that. It's one of the best bits. In fact, if someone asks me to mention 40 Towers, like my best bit, that's probably the most memorable bit. I suppose it kind of generated a bit of like, I wouldn't want to use the word hate, but you know, when we were in school, we used to taunt Germans, you know. I've still got it down as Marge Simpson. I'm happy with that for now. What's it called? NPC start. Yeah. Jeremy Clarkson still does it. So yeah, cause not showing is false. It is showing is false. It essentially does nothing doing this, which is what I want. Again, this is probably an awful way of doing this, but it does work. So the way I'm doing it, you basically in game you have to call every single one of these routines every frame, and then inside these you worry about how they handle that. I love it. They need to bring back more of this British comedy. When I watch TV now, I'm appalled at how bad it is. Mr. Johnson. So let's see if we get any glitches. No, good. So he's not visible. It's working. Now we have to think. This is where the clever bit comes in, though. There's more than one problem. The first one is, where is the camera position and how is it relative to this? At the time it becomes relative and this falls within the camera's viewport, we need to set that to true. But at the same time we have to do that reverse calculation to work out the screen position of the NPC. That'll do. NPC check-in view. Have they got that? Not sure why they don't do markdown. Probably got exploited somehow. I've got to watch some of these old comedies. I can't wait as well because I love them. I'm still currently watching through the Star Trek when I get time. I'm on DS9 at the moment. Worf has just reared his ugly head again. What I find really funny about Star Trek is like they rotate through all the characters. They all seem to have to get the limelight now and then. Even in the very first series, they all had to sit in the captain's chair at least once, and then at the end of the last season, even the Doctor was in the captain's seat. Do they really? That's interesting. You had to choke your way through the rest of DS9. Yeah, it's kind of painful watching it, I must admit. I love the original series so far with Spock and Kirk, Scotty. With the DS9, I'm getting a little bit bored of it. I don't binge watch it anymore. It's great stuff to have on in the background when you're coding, though, because I don't even end up watching it. I couldn't tell you many of the storylines. But the odd one is great. I love Quark. Quark heavy stories. You cook into it, yeah. That's what it's about, isn't it? You have it on in the background. Female! How can I attract a human female? The laws of acquisition and all that, or rules of acquisition. So in the update loop, this happens every time before we exit out. So we can, in here, call... What's it called? Check in view. Yeah, that'll be okay. Optimize it later, innit? When you don't even know if it's going to work. my advice is for myself is just to try and not worry about any optimization stuff until I know what I'm doing. Redacted. Trying to decipher that, Vulcan. I'm gonna guess you're talking about like our own government been taken over by Ferengi or made a deal with them. So let me think about this though. We need to know the camera's position and the camera's viewport size. From that, we want to look at it and find out it's very much like a collision detection routine, really. And luckily it's quite simple because the world is actually in a byte. A byte size. Yeah, it really is good. Sadly, I haven't actually done any gaming since I started the channel, other than the bit of Commodore 64 I've done at the start. I'd love to get into some old Amiga games. I tried playing Settlers though, and I was frustrated at how bad it was. I was like, what? I remember this being amazing. But perhaps I just didn't give it a chance to get back into it. Couldn't figure out the UI. But I'd love some sort of strategy game like that. You know my collision detection, normally I check the 4 directions. Have we missed? Have we gone too far above? Have we gone too far below? That will work here for the camera as well, I believe. It's just the same. I've just got to remind myself how I used the camera though. I believe that's in our world. Yeah, it is. See, I knew it was a word, but I think I only use the top bit. Top byte. Yeah, I do. I can remember. Can you load BH there like that? I've never seen that. I don't think you can, but well, it seemed to compile. So we got, instead of dealing with a collision of a player like we normally have, but we've just got viewport. That's like the viewport's left shoulder or left side. Should probably put that there. We're trying to prove there's no collision here. So we've already got the byte here. World X. Let me just think about this though. I believe it'll be just okay just to do World X there. Best opcode lookup. Let's have a look. I loved my Z80 Heaven one. I remember you showed me this before you moved. If it wasn't you, it was someone else. And I was too novice to understand it. But now, perhaps I can. I've got it there if I need it. Nice one. Let me keep my mind on the ball here though. The lucky thing here is there's no width of. If we imagine this like a collision routine we've already written, we'd normally have like player and NPC, and you'd have to worry about the width of the characters and all that. Well, this is just a pinpoint. So if A is less than B, he can't be on the screen. I don't even think we're going to need these comments. They're just going to get in the way in the long run, I think. Instead, I'll just put like missed viewport by left side. That'll do. So that just means the NPC is stood to the left of where the viewport starts. This time we do want to load it into A because we want to add the width of the viewport. We then want to put it into B. No, we don't. Hang on. I haven't even finished this yet. CPB. Return C. This time around, I always want to use C. I don't want to use NC because that's more than or equal, and I want it just to be nice and symmetrical. So I always want the smallest number to be an A. And if we're checking for the right side this time, we actually want the screen and viewport to be an A. So we can just, well, in fact, again, it's just a pinpoint. We're not going to be adding or anything. Believe we, well, I don't think you can do this actually, but I'll try. I could look it up, but I'm going to just try it. Got a warning. Yeah, it done like that. No biggie. So this is the same stuff, just with the Y, isn't it, really? Luckily, none of these values can ever be anything more than 80 or 40, in fact, on the Y right now, or 64, I think. I mean, that does limit us right in this code to having a weld that is less than 256 width, but that's plenty, really. It was a nice opcode lookup. Do you know, it's probably similar to how they do that. I bet they're looking it up on that table. That should be in HL there. And repetition is helping me because I can remember when I really used to struggle writing these. But now I think I've got it. I say that and it probably won't work. Midnight tea. No toast tonight. Love it. Man, I've been eating way too much as well. Should pretty much be able to match up what we've done there with the X. I love how I knew I was going to do height there. I don't know how it managed that. But... So if not, then visibility needs to be set to true. Where is it? Is showing. And I could jump to set it false on all of those occasions, or I could just set it false here every frame. That might cause flickering, I don't know. I think I'm going to try that first. And then I'll fall back on my idea I just said if it flickers. Right. So now, showing is true. We actually want to make a routine here to do this, because, or we could do it in here, but just to tidy it up, I'd make a routine because it needs to. Well, we can just call it a routine. It's gonna find out where this should. I mean, these should be just set as that, so we know it's bull crap. Mashed potatoes, topped with sliced potatoes. Oh, I read that wrong, but it sounded nice. Like mashed with a bit of sliced on the top. Nice and browned. Send a pic later. Sweet. Oh, sounds like good eating, man. I don't know if it's all like propaganda from Canada, but everything I ever see from Canada, they seem to live so good. Like everyone seems so happy, all loaded. It's probably not not like that in reality, but that's what I see. I did speak to a lad on Discord who worked in a offshore thing. He's a Canadian, and he earned an insane amount of money. I can't remember exactly the figure it was, but it was something about 8 or 9 times what I earned. And he never had to pay any rent. All his food was there. He said it was like a luxurious canteen. You walk in, yeah, offshore. So in 3 months, he earned like 10 times what I earn in a year. Maybe. I think he was calculating it for me, though. To be honest, maybe he was lying, but I mean, he doesn't seem like the sort of guy that would lie. Maybe exaggerating a bit. But yeah, I applied for the job as well because he told me how easy it was, but I never got any replies. Because I'd be happy to do that. I don't really have anything to stick around for. I would love to be able to go and do that. But New Zealand, ooh, that's another good shout because I'm not sure Canada would let me move there. To be quite honest, I'd love to move there though. I've had enough of Britain. It's crap. No offence to you guys, Brits. I mean, I was born in Britain and I've been here my whole life, but stay here, yeah. Yeah, it's crap everywhere, isn't it, at the moment? Scotland on steroids. It does look awesome. And of course, you're only a sort of quick jog away from the United States as well. You could pop down to Vegas on a drive or something if you really wanted to, you know. Basically, we want to set correct screen X. or I don't want to use that actually. Screen space position. Now, really, this shouldn't just happen every time that they're in view. It should only happen when the scrolling has occurred. But it won't hurt that it, where is it? Whoa. Huh. I'm an idiot. There we go. That does sound like a good idea, Vulcan. I never thought of that. I must admit, I have had enough of this place. I've been good to it all my life, but they don't repay the favour. It's not like I want a handout or anything. I just want opportunity. How am I actually going to do this? This is what I want to know. I mean, it basically involves taking the camera's X and Y, timesing it by 8, timing each of them by 8, and then adding, I guess this times by 8 as well. No, that's not correct. I believe it's just these two times by 8 actually. No. It's these take away camera's position and then times the sum of that by 8, or the whatever the word is, the outcome from that. I'm just reading your suggestion here. XY boundary. I could do that. The thing is, that doesn't sound any easier than doing it on the camera. I'm just trying to find out if it should be drawn, you know what I mean? So it has to know the exact viewport. If it gets it 1 pixel out and it draws it into the wrong bit of memory, it's probably going to cause a crash or something weird. So the player, for example, in your suggestion there, if the player was at the bottom of the screen, you'd have to have a different sized box than if it is at the top of the screen. You may as well just use the camera and the viewport. That's what it's for, really. I've just summarised it anyway. What you have to do is that minus camera X times 8. So I'll write it right here just as a formula. Does that make sense? I really think that does. So if the camera was in position 10 or 9 and 58, this would be 1 times 8 and it would be drawn in the top left. So I believe that that is correct. You can get curry in the US, but don't. I love curry, but I even more prefer chili stuff, to be honest. Like really hot. Indians doing Chinese. It's probably like the cheapest possible source of food manufacturing. I reckon that formula does do the biz. So let's make a little routine to do it. Calculate. I'm just going to call it, start using the word screen space as one word from now on. In the hope that might stop us getting confused later down the line with world space and all this sort of rubbish, as opposed to world position and God knows what else, the camera position. It gets all confusing. Local Euro spice. Chindian. I mean, I'm lucky in that respect that I work for a Turkish company, but they do kebab and burger and everything, pizza. So I've got quite a selection there of takeaways to get for free. That is one definite perk. Alright, so we're only doing this when he is in the view. I've had problems doing this before. Oh, I'm certainly going to have a problem because that's a 2 byte number. And I want the high. As it happens, nah, forget that. I just need to multiply it by 8. Can you do add AA? I think you can. I'm going to check it though. I've just got something in the back of my mind reading that this is actually the best way to do if you're if you're timesing it by a value, a multiple of 2 or power of 2. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but God, it takes so long to load. I loaded that a while ago. There we go. Add AA. You can, yeah. Nice. I think I'll do that then. Wait there. So times 2, 4, 8. I believe that's correct now. Yeah. Sometimes I make a mountain out of it, but it's so, I don't know. It just seems like it's almost too easy. This like it surely isn't going to work. Just set screen. I'm sure he's got a screen position. Oh, that's just this. Maybe I should name that. Bit clearer, isn't it? Ah, wait a minute. We have a complication. This is a word, and it's used as such, where it checks that fully, and then one bit out of that. What a bummer. That's throwing a spanner in the works. We'll have to use a 16-bit then, won't we? There's a chance it could be higher than 255 by the time we've multiplied it. Um, no, wait. It's a bugger. What's making it even more annoying is camera. We definitely just want to extract the higher byte. We do not want to care about the low byte whatsoever. That's used for timing. When we've got this value here in A, this by the time it's done that instruction, we need to move it into a 16-bit register. Well, specifically HL, so that we can do add HL. And I believe this is going to be the only way we can do this. When I say the only way, we're going to pretty much have to use HL. I guess I could use IX for this first bit. Maybe DE. Wait. Oh yeah, I'm trying to subtract them as well to make it even more annoying. Yeah, but I've got something in my mind that tells me that was faster. And also, there is a way if you roll it, it can fail, can't it? It can end up not being 100% accurate. Can't remember the exact scenario behind that, but if you roll one of them away, like a bit value. Well, for example, now it's going to get too high. Hang on, I'm getting confused. Wait, I've got to see this through. Because I had an idea a second ago. If only I was adding there, I'd add DA, add HLDE. Is it SBC? Can I do that? Annoyingly, like I said, I don't. I flipping hell. This is tough. I think I need to go. No. Yeah, it is because it's adding itself to itself. Well, I might be wrong. I'm not a mathematician. I've got that wrong before. If it's 1, 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. Yeah, looks right to me. I'm more worried about my use of this. Remember, I only want h from there, and I want to subtract. Well, you can see the formula I'm trying to do there. I'll just check consult Z80 Heaven here a sec. I wanted to roll another smoky anyway. Been working hard today. That's loaded nice. SBC. Sum of second operand and carry. And carry. So I do have to clear the carry first then. How do I do that? NC. What makes an NC? Would compare 0 make it? Would that clear the carry? It's always going to be more than or equal to 0, isn't it? A, of course. Well, I guess just have to try that. Well, that says that there is exactly what I've tried to do with that entire thing, and I believe it's correct. I'm going to roll this smoke now. Zoom that in a sec. Or A, X or A clears the carry. Thank you, man. Well, like this. Do I have to do both in that way? Just one. Okay, thank you, man. As it happens, I think CP0 would as well, but maybe this way is quicker. Because I think CP0 NC means more than or equal, doesn't it? I'm definitely going to start using that multi-line thing you taught me. That's the first time I've ever used it, actually, but some things it's very much needed for. Anyway, I'll just quickly roll this, and then I'm going to write the same for Y, and then I think I can try and test it out. What's that, micro? That sounds clever. Is that an instruction to clear the carry? I just saw your question about adding HL. It inverts the carry. That's alright. So it sets it. Oh, it just inverts it, literally flips it. I get you. To answer the thing about HL, I'm pretty sure it does. Of course, HL is increasing in size by doing that. So the next time you do it, it's double the size, of course. Pretty handy. Right, I'll write this in a sec. Is there any reason why it should be any different to X? I think it's the exact same. Oh, the thing is, we actually only need to worry about the small byte of Y. That was incorrect what I just said. No, it's not. No, it's not. I don't think they can ever be more than 240. There's 32 character cells visible in height. So that's 256. So it can always fit in one byte. So it is a little bit different to the I think I've messed up here. I forgot to add something. Oh no, world X is the position. Yeah, I was going to say I forgot to add the character's position. All right. Well, you know what? I'm just going to do it the exact same way. See what happens. All right then. So he sets it to showing, calculates its position. You've got the ad now. Good, good. You were getting me worried there because I know you're better at maths than I am. As I said earlier, this is automatically handling the visibility bit, but I've written a heck of a lot of code here without testing it, and it's all pretty new stuff to me. So this is going to get ignored until that moment where it finds that it's in the viewport, and then it's going to set that, and it's going to set the visibility. So unless I messed up the code, because I'm using a lot of stuff that I already wrote the other day, and I might have messed that up, without remembering. But it looks all good at first glance. I reckon this might be ready to roll now. So where do we want him to be? Did I get that right? I think I did. He's going to be somewhere near that status booth. Errors. I changed the name of that thing, didn't I? Okay. Yeah, I wanted to. I'm not sure about the memory thing, mate. I've been I've been wondering about that myself. Okay, I'm not seeing him. That's a shame. Called initialize at the start. We call update and draw. Level loading from the image. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? I'd love to be able to figure out a way to be able to store a level and then say insert tape. And I'm really referring to my Spectrum 48K code in here. But I'd love to be able to say insert side 2 or, press play on tape and then clear whatever's in there. Sure, that's not impossible. Well, I know it's not impossible, but sure we could manage that. I'm going to have to check here now to see whether this is getting called somehow. Let's just do the flip thing. The easiest way for me. Yeah, this will still flip the player. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But I'm just not advanced enough yet to quite understand how to do that, unfortunately. Good. So it is detecting my code. The NPC is meant to be somewhere near that booth. Yeah, there you go, it stopped. So he's visible about now. So he's there, but for some reason we're not seeing it. Probably to do with the already written code. But I'd say that code I just wrote was working pretty well, actually. Yeah, I've just got to learn about how many banks we've got and pages. Is a page the same thing as a bank and stuff like that? Because I'm still a bit hazy about all of that. There's slots and pages I've been using here, but I'm not really aware of banks. Yeah, it's hard, man. But by practicing like this and doing, it's a good first step to learning the limitations, isn't it? And then when you hit a problem, it's sometimes clearer. People can explain it all day long until you actually see it with your own eyes. Then it's like, oh, I see what you mean now. I wonder if this sprite is wrong. Attribute 3. If it was just left like that, it should show Lister. Now right here I set the visibility of it off, but as long as that's true, then it should get to here and set it back on. Definitely gets set. Have you, Micro? That sounds good. That's something I've always wanted to do, but I tried it one time. When I couldn't write assembly code, I tried to get the code out of someone else's game. Couldn't manage it. That sounds well clever, man. I think I'm a million miles away from that right now. I'd be happy just to get this NPC to show up. I knew this would cause me a problem. I honestly believe this code's working though. That flickering. Well, actually, yes. That's only happening here, so we know this is working. Doesn't actually prove that this is right, does it? That could be a cool project, Specky. You should just try. See what problems you run into. Then find help. How can I, without, I know I can debug, yeah? Breakpoint, I mean. But every time I try, how do I see that value? This is what I really want to see. We don't need the mirroring. Oh, I didn't mean to actually delete it. But we know that it's happening at the right time, the mirror, didn't we? We saw that. Alright, there's the breakpoint. HLFFB0. HL should be. Go up a line. Can you do that? Can you? Nice. Yeah, so HL, it literally just loaded HL in value. I went up a line. I know there's a delay in the chat. But when Emook speaks, I listen every time. There's nuggets to be found. So you can point the memory viewer. Is that how you do it? Oh. Okay. So I was looking at it in the wrong Endian or whatever you call it up here. Ah, I've just realised I could go into a better screen for you guys. Yeah, here and here, yeah? That's excellent. Thank you, man. It's a Screen X. It's wrong, isn't it? Yeah. Live byte changing, that's cool. Yeah, because it reminds me of my days of NES-ROM hacking, when I was hacking in the achievements. It's a very much a screen like this you were using. But all you had to do was like check, try and find which one represented the level and lives and crap like that, and then work out a formula to give achievements when they get to a certain place without losing a life or something like that. It's a bit like making a cheat. BO. So is this the high bite or the low? That's the low, isn't it? Well, I just wanted to know what this value was. And also, I don't know exactly how to step through the code. Yeah, I'm just checking the calculations correct. Because I don't think it is. F7. Okay, thank you. I'm going to check that calculation though. BO 176. The funny thing is we only want to know one bit from this. The high bit. The high byte. We only want one bit. Obviously we know it's a 1 there. F7 doesn't really help me. I just need to calculate that to find out how much it is. B0 is 176. That seems like too much for the X. I'm going to close that. I think I should have done this on the Y instead. Might make things more obvious. That was brilliant though, wasn't it? Yeah, I kind of now understand the basic use of the debugger. It's going to help massively. I can see why everyone was screaming at me with the caveman debugging. I still like my caveman though, it's got me out of a lot of scrapes. Right, here's our break. We'll go up a couple of lines. So it's 8308 we're interested in this time. Right, it's 0. That's weird, isn't it? It's like the opposite of what we want, because really we want it to be... Is there a way to ignore the breakpoint so I can walk down a bit further? Oh, F8, I just messed up, didn't I? I'll go back out and in. Press F1. I tried that. Of course, the breakpoint just triggers immediately again. Really, we're expecting Y to be the highest number on the screen. Yeah, I'll keep triggering it. That's the point. I was trying to disable it just quickly. It's 0. If I hold down, maybe... Oh, I crashed it. I think I pressed escape by accident. Yeah, so the reason they were FF is because they were unchanged. So I could get rid of the FFs. Them parts weren't actually of any significance whatsoever though. Oh, it's not like that. It's always 0. It's like the inversion of what I want. I'd be expecting it to be 255. I guess 0 might be right. Had a breakpoint at the top of the routine. Surely then though it won't have been set by that point. So the value will be irrelevant. It'll just be whatever I set it to up here. It's not it's getting set. Let me just think about the logic a sec. Because if you remember I did say X and Y are actually slightly different. Because with this you do care about the MSB. And this one we don't. But I would have thought it still would work. I think X was wrong as well. I put it at 10. Let's put it at 1. And let's put the world position 1. Sod it. X and Y. So now it should be visible right from the word go. We instantly get our breakpoint. I think I didn't move it to the bottom because I deliberately done that. Because I want to see whether HL sets this value. I can already see it's 0. We can already see they're not getting drawn. That doesn't mean that them values are wrong though. Maybe he's not getting drawn for another reason. Zero, zero, zero. HL is 0, yeah. And that might be actually right though with 1. It would get... I think camera position starts at 0. Y was 1. I wonder if that's still necessary. Oh, of course I've got the breakpoint in there still. It seems that's no longer necessary. We can have 0 position on the camera. Seems to work flawlessly. So let's try and work that out in our head, verbally a second. Cameras are 0. And we only care about them. It was there. World position's 1. So you'd expect him to be at the top left, wouldn't you? Just a little bit in. And that's in cells. it needs to set the screen position to 8 and 8 in this specific scenario. I guess I could try just loading it. Let's just try that a second. In fact, comment it all out. Sorry, I said 8, didn't I? So still going to set it to showing. Still going to call this routine. That's just going to hard code 8 as a position. See if it shows up now. And why not stick the breakpoint in there and see whether this value is the correct. There's no sprite showing, not even us. Now we're showing. Still no sprites. No NPC. So both these should be 8. And they are. So that proves to me that not only is my calculation wrong, but even if we had it right, the sprite still wouldn't have shown up. And that's also 8. So there they are, the two 8s. I'm just going to try and run it without a breakpoint. Definitely not there. And in fact the collision is not there either. Because I think there is some collision code for the player that I already wrote the other day. So we'll leave it at that for debugging. Looks like this all needs changing, or a little bit of it at least needs changing. Eight would be in the border a bit. How do you mean? Don't we I think we see the full screen space. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I believe I'm standing at 0, 0 now. I could be wrong, but I believe that I'm not wrong. But let's just change it to 2 then. Or indeed 4, why not? 4, 4, 32. I would love to be able to print debug data to the screen, man. I would absolutely love that. I don't know how to do it though, unfortunately. I tried to load the ULA stuff. I couldn't even manage that just yet, like with the layers. I think that the sprite is not getting drawn. Something to do with the layers or one of these attributes. Because I know it's gonna look like Lister. Okay, thank you, man. I'm pretty sure this is getting called every single frame. That it is. Where'd it go? NPC attribute slot. I can't actually remember what that's about. Player attribute slot. Oh, that's the ordering. Like they all have to have a unique slot when you change, and then you activate it here, and then you fill the bytes. Did I know that 3 days ago? Labels in the debugger. I don't know exactly what I'm on about, but I'm getting gradually better at it. The one we really want to care about is here, isn't it? Guess it must be something to do with this crap I'm doing in update. Oh, I wonder. If you remember, I said about it, didn't I? I said, oh, if we have a problem. I thought it was going to flicker. But maybe it's that. It's causing us some problems. I don't think it is, to be honest. But so all them return C's I'll turn into jump C to that. I don't actually think that's going to work. That's going to fix it though, because when it actually draws and checks that visibility bit, this would have already been completed and set it back to where it should have been. But now every frame it's either one or the other. Doesn't get set both. Nope, no good. In that case, I wonder if these ands are not the right thing. But I'm going to move that down to where it says set not showing. What I'm intending to do there, and I hope it's right, because I'm going to comment it, is reset visibility bit. So I want that bit to be 0. I hope that's correct. Because it's crucial to the code working. I can't see that that's not correct. But alright, so in that case, when we set it to true here, that'll actually be done here. You have come all the way, Micro. You've been here since the start. I could barely write anything at that point. It was still fun though. I was able to write the odd thing, but I can remember trying to write like a shooting game, like similar to Space Invaders, and the bloody bullets were just going all over the screen. I couldn't figure out why. I learned the hard way about pushing and popping, and the IX register being, or the IY is even worse. Couldn't rely on it. Moz was here even earlier, yeah, but you were here just, I swear, like a few days after I started, or a week or two. Did you see it, Specky? Yeah. Yeah, I think it was to do with using IY register from memory and not push popping beforehand and after. That's cool if it was Reddit. I've stopped posting on Reddit now because the mods on there, like, you just get people moaning at you for posting your videos. It's like, man, what's your problem? You know. Very strange that it's not showing up. I mean, right now the world position we're setting up there is irrelevant. It should just be showing up at that position. It's not trending, you don't see it. A lot of people, I think, have come here from Twitter though. He's got his yellow shirt on, his London Jets. I know the one you're on about, Marco, yeah. The one where he says his most least smeggy shirt. The one with only 3 mustard stains on the front. Why isn't this NPC playing ball? Because at this moment, this is all irrelevant. It just sets the position. So it should just be drawing it in screen space. You know, like I was talking about, what was happening before. We had it the other day working. But he should just be hovering at 64 no matter where we are. So I've completely buggered it somehow here. But I guess let's get rid of all this type for now. Cheers, Specky. Good to see you, dude. Glad you're going to carry on watching. Hopefully I'll sort it out. I am getting a bit tired myself, but there's a little bit of life left in me yet. I'm going to delete all the sort of bloat out of it and try and just get it drawing now. I'm convinced that's nothing to do with it. Attribute 3. Why is that? I mean, I haven't even changed it. It should just be showing up straight away. He's the same. The slots are different. I mean, it shouldn't matter, but I could change it maybe. Oh, he's there. Oh my god. Trial and error wins again. 2 listed. Alright, so 4 times 8 is 32. So let's just see if he appears roughly where he just was, basically. I'm pretty sure he won't. No. So that code is also wrong, sadly. I don't know how wrong. I think I'll go back to just having it on debug mode. So I can have a think about this. Well, no, there's not much I can do other than figure out why this works and this doesn't. Just out of interest, if I put... Well, let's just put 32 there for a second. Okay, he still shows up. I thought he might not for a second. So they should definitely show up if that was working correctly. Just out of interest, I want to see if that... This is a word, but this is a 8-bit register. So I just want to see how that handles that. I'm expecting him to be in the exact same place. And he is. Okay, cool. So that works how I thought. It just rolls over and keeps going round. Yeah, well, okay. It was one less then. I always get confused with the 0. Always a weak spot for zeros. The collision's not working, but I'm not bothered about that. What I am bothered about is why that would work, and I'm tempted to not to just delete it because I can't use that. But just to prove I'm not going mad, I might have to really put that on every now and again. But if cam is 0, it's world. It's meant to be world takeaway cam, isn't it? Yeah, I'm an idiot. That's all it is. Oh, it's a bugger. I've got to rewrite the whole thing though because of that. 2 listers. I've sussed it though. But it's annoying. I've got to now redo the whole thing in my mind because it's not as easy as just switching them around, is it? Because of the way they work. I could probably switch like all that. I don't know. I'll probably just rewrite it. No, hang on, hang on. It is, isn't it? It's world takeaway cam. Yeah, have a smoke. That's the answer, man. Every time. Have a think about that, guys. Any mathematicians here? Is it which way round should that be? I actually need to go and use the toilet actually, but I'll be back. I'll be back in a sec. Which way round should it be? See if you can help me out. I'll be back in a sec. No one knew the answer then. I still don't know it, but I'm thinking that's the correct way round now. Um, ooh, fair enough, my dude. Fair enough. I'm pretty sure this one's okay. I've figured this out, I think. I just had that the wrong way round. But now I'm just making sure that I load the registers correctly for the new way round. PC World X. I think I made it more complicated than it needs to be. I don't think they can be 2 bytes. Oh, times it by 8 though. So I can do it more simply than I made it above. I, I think I can keep it all in 8 bits. So I want the top byte of this going into B. That is a byte anyway. Screen X. Maybe it does need to be a flipping 16. It's sketchy, isn't it? Oh, I can test it like this and it'll work anyway, with it being such a low number on world. But what happens when we're scrolling about on a slightly larger world, I don't know. So this is a word. But I'll just load A. You know, I'll put it into the small. I'll keep that one there just in case I want to look at it later. I just can't type. Let's shrink that text, it's just too big. Okay, is that everything it needs to do? I've forgotten now at this stage. I think that's all it needs to do. Well, he's there, but he's in the wrong position slightly. So something's definitely not right, but that's very odd. How odd. I've had problems with sub before where it doesn't give me the answer I expect. I think I use it wrong. I don't think you can do that while I'm doing that, but I'll try it anyway. Nah. Which implies to me I'm getting the value in B, which is what I want to sub from to sub from A. 8 take away 0. Might be the way I'm loading that, I guess. Let's just make absolutely sure. Follow registers in the debugger every step through it with a break at the beginning of the maths routine. Okay, I'll try that in a minute. 0, how strange. How can it be 0? Quite honestly. What's this PX? Oh, that's the collide. I don't know how it could be 0. At no point do we set it to 0 other than here. Even that, so it's getting set to 0. But we can confirm that by doing what you said. Or I can at least try and do that. Excuse me. F7 want it to step through. So HL0 up there. Why is it 0? Oh, did it load the camera? Yeah, so that's fine. It's meant to be 0. Then A is meant to load the world X. It's meant to put it into B. A, where's that? So right here, it's meant to make A 8. And it does. So it happens after you press break, okay, or skip. Why has it gone to 0 there? Okay, well done, man. You've definitely helped me there. Seems B. Why would B not be 0 there though? Because it seems when the sub B happens, it takes A to 0. Let's try just sub B. Because I think what's happening there is it's subbing A from itself. I've had that problem before. There, it's worked. Microman, you saviour. That's the way to use the breakpoints. I get you now. You can just see the registers changing as you go through. It's great news. I'm just fixed sometimes. You know, I get there in the end, but I'm like the Z81. ZX81. Or is it Z81? I don't even know. Yeah, we've done it. We've done it. I think we've just sorted it. So look, World X 15 8 in cells. Hey, there he is. Does all the other rubbish work. I think we had it on 10:59 from memory. He should be somewhere near the stasis booth. Oh, I've worried about this. Before I walk down there, what happens when he's at the maximum? Is it going to handle it or not? Because I'm trying to draw it as soon as he comes in, but only one pixel at the top. The top line will be visible. Maybe I need to write code to check that he's actually 16 lines above the bottom. Ah, oh, he didn't draw. That's a bummer. It was working as well, wasn't it? I expected it to work that go, to be fair. Let's try 35. Why? Nope. Damn. I wonder if it has something to do with the scrolling. Not sure. Let's try your breakpoint thing again. So I should be able to go down a bit and then it should start breaking. Yeah, good. Oh, good idea. I'll try that first. Let's just try him at 1-1 again. So that works good. Ah, see, he never comes back. My bet would be he's invisible. Like he is there, but I'll do it again because it wasn't very clear at 1-1. It's weird that he appears where I want him to, though. It's something about when he's been made invisible, he's not becoming invisible again. That's the reason. He should be back visible now. But, set not showing. I'd love to be able to actually just set that bit to 0. I wonder if that's set. It's ringing a bell now. Is there a set keyword? No, maybe not. Oh yeah, there is. Sets the specific bit. Okay. Genius. Is there a reset as well? I do that, Microman, when I watch people code. I'm going to just guess there is a reset. Oh no, there's not. Res. Beautiful. Learn something new every single day. Thanks, Emook. I saw it just as I read it on the docs. Alright, so I don't see why that wouldn't work now. If you remember, we know that by calling the mirror, we actually know when it should be triggering now and when it's not. And I've seen that in action. It seems to work perfectly. Is there any reason why it begins set invisible? Ah, this could be it. Yeah, it never gets called to turn itself back on. I don't think we need to worry about it showing. We just need to do that visibility bit only. Is showing we'll still keep though, because the collision we don't want to check. Where's update? Here. Yeah, we don't want to check for collision. Oh, hang on. I did have that above the thing. Actually. No, actually, I think that was alright. Flip it instead of turning it off. I was basically doing that a minute ago with the and. It didn't work. But also, it's slightly less. It's better to hard fix it like that because that's exactly when I don't want it to be the incorrect value. This might work now. So I'm flipping around like a good one. That's good. As soon as he goes off the screen, I'll stop flipping. When I start flipping again, we should be seeing him. And he's there. It's working. Excellent. So it was just to do with that and. I'm just a retard with that. But this is a much better way of doing it anyway. Let's get rid of the mirror now. That was just pointless reasons. And we'll put him down near that stasis booth. I'm not sure if it's going to love it when you come in from the bottom. It could break it. I don't think it will. I think it might work. Oh, see, did you see him pop out of the top? That's the break-in bit I was on about. But he's working. But you see, he just for one frame appears at the top. Not that worried about that. It's an easy way around it. Just check when we check the viewport, Dave bugging. When we do the viewport here, where was it? Here. I think just the height, although we probably want to do this on the width as well actually, but minus 16 there should do it. Or is it minus 2? Minus 2. And hopefully that'll fix the problem. It'll just mean that they don't draw the sprites right at the edge of the screen. Yeah, I didn't see him over at the top. That's the most important thing. Oh, it's brilliant. So the next thing we need to do is sort out the collision. Look at how he leans when he walks, it's funny. My movement code is obviously not perfect. That lean was a bit weird. It's only down here it does it. Not sure that it comes through properly. It looks kind of cool anyway, I like it. Right on, I like it, yeah, definitely. So triggers are working. We can go into stasis and we know he's in there. I could do the same thing in a minute for this because I've got a feeling he's just a trigger. I'm pretty sure we are detecting collision on them. Let's set him to be another character. Thanks, Vulcan. Oh, that's because the raster is waiting. Okay. Let's take a look at that and see if I can get my head around that. I get you. It's not really a big deal, is it? Here, yeah. Should I put 192? Oh, just change it to 0. Okay, nice one. That probably will, won't it? Let's have a go. Super clever stuff. I mean, it's... Oh! It seems to run quicker, again. Whoa, that is strange. Only when you stood still. I like it though, it seems to be running a lot faster and smoother. It makes me want to test out the collision. I wish I had that other map now still. But yeah, this is beautiful. Oh yeah, this is nice. Awesome. So when it's scrolling that whole tile map, it slows down a little. But it'd be nice to be able to smooth it all out. But I think if I handle the way I'm handling the camera, it has like a bit counter. And if I did the same with the walking, I think I could make it a smooth transition between the scroll and the walk. But that's not going to happen in this project. I'm happy with it the way it is. Wow, that's super quick now. I wonder what happens if it's 16 there. Oh yeah, it's still very quick. So if I go up here now, does it do the raster line thing? Cool. I believe it's just the default megahertz. But that's something again I've just looked at that as an added complication for now and ignored it. I'm trying to, you know what I'm like. How would I do that then, Emu? I'm sure I could probably just do it right at the start somewhere, couldn't I? Setting it. Just right at the beginning, do you reckon? Is it really as simple as just that? Is that like mode 3 or something? If anything, that's like exasperated the problem. It's highlighted that the code is the problem because it's even faster in the walking area now. But the scrolling maybe noticeably, maybe it is slightly faster, but the transition is slightly more noticeable, I'd say. But that's cool. I know how to change it. I know how to improve it, I should say. But I don't think I want to worry about that yet. But how I would change it was I'd completely change my movement code. The problem is it's already a 2 byte number, but I'd want another byte as a timer so that it increments that. The raster weight is guff, yeah. I'll probably change that as well. Come up with some sort of VSync routine of some kind. Oh no, when the code, I was actually talking about my code, my scrolling. Believe it or not, scrolling is actually good. It's timed, so it's like I can step it. There's like a time step, if that makes sense, before it actually scrolls, so I can adjust that. But with the player, the speed is 1 already, so I can't really adjust it at the moment. It's great fun though, and like I say, I'm not fixing that problem because I don't think it'll be that much fun, and it's okay to play as it is, so it's fine. I'm going to comment that next thing because then I know how to set the mode. There was one more thing I wanted to try before I ended the vid. Completely forgotten. Oh, I was going to quickly check his collision. Yeah, it's trying to change the border colour. Look. So let's just call mirror again. I believe somewhere in here. Damn, I didn't make a routine for it. Where's collided solid? Well, yeah, I could just call collided solid. Now, the problem is the timing of that call. This is where I was saying it is fragile code. It's heavily reliant on a lot of the stuff that's happened before it, happening at specific orders for this to be able to work. But it was very nice. If you were watching, it's just 4 lines and it sorted it out. No ints very well. Okay, Micro, good call. So I need to disable interrupts and then enable them at a certain time or something along those lines. I've seen people just disable interrupts completely. And apparently you just have to increment your own frame counter there and delta time. But that's the bit I don't get. I bet a strategically placed disable and enable would help, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know how to do it. But now we've got the multiple opcode that will help with these things. You can just turn them off, yeah. Yeah, but then surely you still need to come up with some sort of timing mechanism to get the frames at a level pace. No, okay. See, I don't even know what that stuff is. I'll try and stay simple. I could come up with a delta time routine. It wouldn't be that hard. It's not impossible. You just have to know how many frames have ticked by since you last checked the frame count. Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. But the problem with this game isn't just that. It's the scrolling and the movement are handled differently. And that when it snaps between the two, that's the noticeable difference. I'm hoping a collision might work though. No, it doesn't. Well, no, I knew it wasn't going to one night, didn't I? Actually, I started saying it and then I forgot. Previous position. The way that works is not. It's impossible for it to work. It only works in that one scenario. However, if I go into update of the player, this is where I set the previous position. Oh, my keyboard's still working. There we go. If I actually do this at the top of this, or just anywhere before the move, that might work, you know. I'll just check though, I might not get a solid collision properly anymore. Oh yeah, okay, collision seems to work fine. Yeah, look at that. Working class kid comes good. I did notice that before I could walk through there. I didn't really like that, but it's not too bad. There's no real easy way around that because they're trigger tiles. I'd have to pad it around with a wall sort of tile. You know, they'd have to if I wanted it to block the side. There's okay because the word stasis is a solid tile. That's absolutely perfect, I'm telling you. So the way I solved that was just because previous X now doesn't get set back until the actual start of the loop. Nice micro, thank you, my man. It's really good of you. Oh, it's in the player, of course. Yeah, so this just needed to be done as long as it's before move or after. It doesn't really matter. But before it works better because now, of course, as long as we call NPC update after player. So you see, if I move this to here now, you'll probably find the collision won't work on the NPC. This will be alright, yeah. Oh, it does still work. That's cool. Even better then. In fact, that feels a bit better. It's like a little bit springy. Nice. I'm really happy with this code, you know. This like gameplay. I think it's really becoming scalable. Like there's quite a few different types of games you can make with this. What I really want to do is have an inventory now, like, and come up with a real game. It's only going to be simple, you know, one level or two. Find the gun and find the ammo, and maybe the gun's broken. You've got to find some other bit of it. Plasma rifle. What are they even called? I've forgotten what they're called. I think it's plasma rifle. Can't remember what they call it in Red Dwarf now. Something cannons, isn't it? You've got to find one of them, and then you've got to exit through the door, and there's going to be like a kebab monster up here that you have to fight. You know, if you haven't got the right gun, you just die. It's going to be that simple, you know. I love it. I love it. So tomorrow, the very first thing I'm going to do is a fight scene. I've been looking forward to making it, and it's a big task because we've got to add to the player, like health, magic points, power, strength, all different attributes. And then when they get into the fight, we've got to find a way of using that to there will be some RNG involved as well, so that there's some sort of luck involved. I can't wait to do it. I'd love to stay up all night doing it now, but I get too tired in the day. I think the last thing I'm going to do is just change him into the Final Fantasy sprite, this guy, because I haven't drawn any other sprites yet. I also should look into using anchored sprites, but I would have to change all my tile set and everything to make him be able to fit indoors and stuff if I make him any bigger. I believe I simplified it, so we can just change that to 1 now, and it's never going to change. There we go. Of course, this only draws 1 NPC. We've actually got to come up with a way of making a table of these beauties. So that's a big task coming up. It really could get expansive, couldn't it? Especially once we've got Bazookoid, that's it, Emook, and Micro, yeah, for sure. So you've basically got to build yourself a Bazookoid. Otherwise you're going to die. You can go straight for the end fight whenever you want. You've got like a 1 in 10,000 chance of winning or something. But yeah, once we make a table of this, somehow, because if you notice it's bits and words, like bytes and words, so it could become a real pain doing that, but we've got to find a way to do that so that we can have as many NPCs as we want. And then do you remember I had type and I deleted it? We'll need to put that back because we'll need to specify what type it is. But yeah, other than that, good to go. I mean, we could just not have type actually. We could just change this in the table, and that's going to be how I do it. I guess there's nothing really stopping me having them in the table just twice. It was good stuff in the end, wasn't it, Micro? Cheers. I was getting a bit worried when it wasn't working, but thanks to you and Emook, I would never have done that breakpoint. It just used to baffle me. I looked at the screen and thought, oh, sod off. Too much detective work. Yeah, not enough clubbing. I'll be sharpening up my stone club for tomorrow, don't you worry. if you feel like making some graphics for the game, Red Dwarf, Crity or something, feel free. Jump in. I will be learning about anchored sprites as well, because the big baddie at the top I was talking about is going to be like a nice chunky sprite. So we'll have to use an anchored sprite for him. I mean, as it happens, he's not going to move anyway, but everyone wants to make Red Dwarf graphics. Yeah, I thought I'd done alright for my first iteration. I only spent about maybe an hour tops doing all this. I thought I was quite happy with how Lister looked, actually, after I shrunk him down to 16 by 16. He still looked a little bit like Lister. I thought, yeah, that'll do. I've got to redo the tile map. This is what I was talking about at the start. Look, I'd love to be able to walk up to this. Of course, I need the up. I'm going to change the animation. He's not going to face the camera the whole time. My method. Here's the method again, just in case you missed it. But I was joking anyway. I can certainly make my own sprites. Of course, it always helps. I don't have much time. But as long as all the solids come first. And you can send me it as a PNG or anything you want, and I'll export it and change it and that. Oh, I didn't check Discord about Emook's application. I'll certainly check that in a minute. Yeah, but even if you just draw them like that, it's all well and good. And send it to me, and I'll change it into that myself, you know. But either way, what I need to do is move some of these into not being solid. Again, I'll probably have to make the whole graphics again if I do that, because I don't like hacking around what I've already done. I end up starting over again. Also note that here's the doors of the stasis booth, but in the game they don't show up. I must have tried to use too many colours, but I'm sure there was less than 16 colours actually. But you see that? It's black. But it actually ended up looking alright. I quite liked it. It'd be good to be able to have the open or closed. Yeah, loads to do tomorrow. Can't wait. Like I say, I'm happy to do my sprites myself. I reckon I can pull it off. It won't look great, but it'll look like Red Dwarf in some capacity. Yeah, nice. Well, if you're bored, you know, only do it if you're bored. Yeah, see you, Moot. Thanks again for the help. Thank you as well, Microman, for the bits as well. Time to go. I'll be on. They're keeping me late every night at work at the moment because someone's let them down. So chances are it'll be just after 11 tomorrow night. Hope to see you there. Have a good night, guys. See you soon.